Oh. Hey, Drew.
We are live.
You're live. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Clubhouse 54 podcast. I'm Michael Little. To my right here, Tyler Wax, Drew Lockhart. We have Anthony Sebastianelli, who is jumping in via Skype. Today's guest today worked in the golf business and has gotten out of it. He's worked at Chester Valley, Lake Nona, Aronimink. He's won in 2007. He won the Art Broas Award. In 2008, he was the Philadelphia PGA Assistant of the Year and is now the Senior District Manager of ADP. We welcome Tom Byrne to our podcast. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Welcome, sir.
Appreciate it. We also have some of Tom's boys in the background here playing some golf, but from what I gathered, they were like,
they're freeloaders.
Maybe 20 on the list, Tom.
They're freeloaders.
We had two Steves and a Ginger.
Tom's like Vinny Chase from Entourage right now.
Two Steves and a Ginger.
Two Steves and a Ginger out there.
That's it right there. That's my boys.
It's a good porn name.
Two Steves and a Ginger.
Yeah. Surprise, the Ginger's a guy.
So I met Tom back in 2009. I was very early in my career. I just graduated college. I was working at Island Green Country Club in Northeast Philly. No longer there now. And Tom was the president of the Assistants Organization in the Philly PGA. And I called him and I said, Tom, I'm a young guy in the business. I said, I need some advice. I need some help. I'm working at a just a public golf course, and I need to work my way up to the high-end private because that's just what everyone's asked for in the golf business. And I'll never forget. Tom said, "Well, you better keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and just don't quit." He goes, "Because you're not going to get an interview right away, and it's going to take a while for you to knock down that door." And I really took that advice to heart, and it really helped. And Tom, I can't thank you enough because without hearing that, without you just answering the phone, to be honest with you, like. I'm this guy working at a public course, and I'm like scared as could be. I'm a young guy in the business, and I'm calling, the first assistant at Aronimink Golf Club asking for advice, and I had no idea what to say. And I'm sure I was stuttering. I'm sure you're probably like, "Who is this guy?" Yeah, sure. You're never gonna make it. Just keep trying. Click, right?
That's not really.
But no, I'm very grateful for that. So thank you for doing that.
I appreciate it. You owe me everything that you have today.
He's going to take over Clubhouse 54.
He now inherited Clubhouse 54.
Yeah. Welcome to your podcast. Welcome to your podcast.
No, that's really cool. I knew that we had talked when you had first got into business, and I remembered that. I forgot about Island Green because I always remember you starting at Rolling Green. But yeah, it just meant, people would ask me questions. I just tried to give the answers that people gave me before I got to where I was. So it was just helpful to give back. So that's pretty cool to hear. Sometimes you don't think you have an impact on people's lives, but that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, and I did interview at Rolling Green 3 times before I got the job.
Well, then try. Right? I said, I didn't see you the first one.
Hey, this flows right from episode 4 with Fast Eddie. Don't give up. Same thing. Just keep grinding, keep going, keep pushing. So
that's pretty cool.
How many courses in the area have green in their name?
Lots of courses have green in the name. Is Island Green still open?
No, I think that shut down in like 2016.
is it houses now?
No, it's just
Still, really?
So we have Green Valley. I asked a question. You guys were like, "Oh, there's a bunch of courses named Green." Like, I asked a legitimate question.
Well, you got Green Valley, Rolling Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the only two, and Island Green is no done. All right.
R.I.P.
All right.
I thought there was more in there, but anyway.
all the Green Valleys I know shut down, or Island Greens. They all shut down. So Tom, if you don't mind, just get started. Just tell us about kind of how you got involved with golf. You want to give us any background about your childhood, things like that. Just how you got into the golf business and some stories about that. Please.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Northeast Philly, Somerton area, right outside of Bensalem, and I lived next to this small course called Pequessing Golf Club. I don't even know if it's still around or not, but we used to sneak through there, getting to like riding our bikes and stuff. But I never even like I can remember vividly being like 9 or 10 riding my bike down a fairway, and I just didn't even think about because I grew up in an apartment with my mom and stepdad, my mom and sister, and my dad and my mom had split up. So we were, I never thought about playing golf as a rich person's. It was an elitist type of thing. So I played more soccer, baseball, basketball, all that stuff. And then what happened was my mom remarried and we moved to South Jersey. And that changed a lot for me. I went from this suburban area with lots of people, lots of kids, lots of people to hang out with to nothing. It was just rural. And so I kind of was trying some different things. And my aunt and uncle, who remembers at Riverton, which is an absolute gem if you haven't played it, but it's awesome. But they wanted me to get into golf. I went kicking and screaming to it was the Greens, which is no longer there anymore in Delran. I went kicking and screaming for my 3-day clinic. 5 minutes into it, I fell in love with it. And from that point forward, I stopped skiing, I stopped baseball, I stopped soccer, I stopped doing everything. And my focus was purely on golf. I loved it more than I loved anything.
At how old?
13.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just picked up on it. And again, I didn't come from any money. I wasn't a member of the club or anything. I took every advantage I could. I was out in the backyard swinging the club. I remember, I think I was like 14. I was out, we lived in the woods sort of. And I remember I was practicing and I think I shanked one into our bay window and it broke.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought my stepdad was going to rip my head off. And he came out and was like, it happens, no worries. And I was like, whoa. So maybe he was like, I see this kid loves it.
Was he a golfer?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow.
He was an engineer, kind of. And I think he just saw my love for it.
Yeah.
I think he just said, hey, I don't want to stop this kid. I don't want to do anything. So
it's awesome.
I just spent the next several years just, you know what it's like. I mean, just live, eat, shit, pee, golf. I mean, that's all you do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. I was 13 when I started and I just got right into it and, chipping and putting on the carpet in the house into baskets, laundry baskets.
Did you end up playing on the high school team or?
I did. I played, our high school team was really good in Southern New Jersey. And I ended up trying out my sophomore year. Didn't go well. The 6 were set. There were six-man teams. They were set. I wasn't getting into that, whatever. And then that just made more focus to go back as a junior. And I think I finished top 2 that year on my team. And then my senior year, I was, 2 or 3 or 4, somewhere in there. We were all really good.
What were you guys like? What was the team handicap average, or what was your handicap? What was the team sitting around in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a good question. I would say I didn't have a handicap at that time. I'd say I was probably like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
Maybe an 8 somewhere in there.
And they weren't really tracking it, right? Like I don't remember them tracking it in high school. I wasn't on the golf team. I didn't play golf, but I don't remember them like talking about handicap or anything like that.
South Jersey, we played 9-hole matches, and the top 4 of the 6 counted.
Okay.
So some days I was
Same around here.
Yeah, I was like,
okay.
One day I remember vividly. One day I shot 39 at Laurel Creek on the front nine. It was a windy day. It was like, oh my god, I feel so good about myself. And I think the next match I shot 50.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and it's just straight up.
It's just straight up.
Awesome.
Stroke play. So you're playing. I think I was in junior year. I was playing with the 3 and 4 team.
Yeah.
The 3 and 4 group, and you're playing with the 3 and 4 guys, but you're not playing against them. You're playing for the top 4 of your team.
Right.
So my senior year, we had. I'm sure you know Mike Highland is an amateur in the area. He was a year ahead of me. He was a highly touted, senior, and I was a junior. And he left, and like we had, instead of just having one good player and a couple other good players, we had 4 or 5 good, solid players.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We had a solid team, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was started playing as a junior, and then played my senior year. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And did you play in college as well?
Yeah, I went to Westchester. I was pretty realistic about where I was with my ability. So
let's go Rams.
Yeah, go Rams. Yeah. I was pretty realistic with my skills as far as where I wanted. I didn't want to go somewhere and not play.
Yeah.
And I missed 2 events my whole 4 years at Westchester, and it pissed me off that I didn't play in those events. So it's
pretty good.
So we played Pennsylvania college golf. It was college golf. It was D2. But it was for guys like me. It was guys like that.
Yeah.
Weren't blue chippers. weren't weren't going to play on tour or anything like that. We were just, looking to do something while we were in college. And I met some great people, and I traveled, up and down the East Coast and out to Western PA and such, and Ohio, and we had a good time. And to this day, my golf coach is still one of the closest people in my life. So it's pretty cool. I played all 4 years at Westchester. Unfortunately, I finished my last semester was by far my best semester. So it was like, at least you want more, you want to keep playing.
Yeah.
So we did some cool stuff. We made our regionals for the first time in 34 years, which was pretty cool. We went in as the 8 seed out of 8, and we finished 4th or 5th.
Nice.
Which was pretty cool. So just doing some different things. And now to see that program where it is now and where it was after I left, it just kept getting better and better and better. It's not anything to do with me, but I think it just became more of a relevant opportunity for people to come in, good players come in and play at Westchester, even though it's not considered a golf school. So
Are you involved any way with Westchester and the golf team or anything like that?
no, I actually was positioned to take over what was going to be the first year of the women's team at Westchester. My senior year at Westchester, Kutztown started a women's team, and Westchester had a lot of pressure to get a team because of Title IX, making sure they have so many men's sports to women's sports, right? So they started a women's team. And my coach called me and he's like, "Hey, they're looking for a coach. What do you think?" And at that time, I just started at Chester Valley, and I was like, "I'm interested. I'll hear them out." But they went a different direction, and it was probably the best thing for me.
It was your background check. It was your background check.
That night before, so
I was hazed by that man.
yeah, probably best that I wasn't around a bunch of 18 year olds. So
Preach. Uh-oh. One of the Steves just hit one back at us.
Oh God. Now, Tom, say you played for Westchester and stuff, and I played college golf as well. Do you feel though that even though, like you said, you were making it on tour, but doing that and playing college golf is the things you learn, how to travel, how to balance a workload with golf too. It's very demanding. Do you feel like that's kind of helped you through your professional career as a golfer and as your professional career with ADP?
Yeah, I would say that in general it helped me. I mean, because now here I am, and if you think about it, guys, like Anthony, you play college golf. As you're going into your final 8 weeks of your spring semester, that's when the golf season really starts. And it's like, okay, midterms and finals and all this. You see the end of the road for that semester, and it's like, oh, by the way, we're going to put you on the road 3 days a week for the next 8 weeks, and expect you to finish your your schooling well as well. So it's kind of I'd say it helped me. I'd say it definitely helped me to balance, schooling and golf at the same time, and traveling and figuring all that out. Like, obviously you still have stuff that's due at the same time, and as other kids that are in your class. So yeah, I think that's definitely, any experience like that is a huge help.
Do you still stay in contact with people you play golf with on the team?
Yeah. In fact, every once in a while for my job, I get up to Scranton. So I have a good buddy up there that we try to get together and have coffee whenever I can. We unfortunately Scranton, PA. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
Shout out Clark Summit.
Clark
That's
Summit,
where I'm from.
Oh yeah.
Old Forge Pizza.
Tom, that's where I'm from.
Are you from there?
Yeah, I'm from Clark Summit. Born and raised.
Okay.
Scranton Country Club logo right here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's from Old Forge. All he talked about was the Old Forge pizza. You ever get in the Old Forge? Have the Old Forge pizza.
Oh gosh, everybody knows about that.
Yeah, a couple guys I still hang out with.
I don't know what they're talking about.
You haven't had all.
It's the pizza capital of the world. Go ask Prez.
Yeah.
My best friend who lives in Colorado, I met on the golf team, but he lives out in Colorado now. We've been best friends for 20 plus years now. So I was in his wedding, he was in mine. So yeah, and then as I was telling Tyler that my college golf coach was like a second father to me. So the fact that I still talk to him and communicate with him, and things he said at my senior awards night with my mom there, saying that I had grown more than anybody had grown in his 4 years of, seeing somebody grow. My mom cried that whole night, whatever. So still having more of a tighter relationship with my coach than anybody I played with, I'd say. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It's funny how in college golf though, you're 18, 19 years old, going into college, going into, especially with golf and playing a sport, you're going into something that you're really not prepared for. And I was the same way. And it seems it's a pretty common trend that a lot of guys, it's like their coach is like their second father. Yeah, like when you're in school, that's the person you go to. When you get in trouble, if you get in trouble, that's the person you go to. So it's pretty neat to hear how you said that. Like it's a second father. You're not the only one, and definitely not the last one.
So funny story. I was a junior in college when 9/11 happened, and that's how old I am. And my coach called me on 9/11 in 2021, so 20 years after it happened. And I was in Vegas for my buddy's bachelor party, and I'm walking from the pool with drinks to sit down with everybody. And my coach is calling. I was like, "What's coach want?" He never, he doesn't call that often. So I'm like, "What does he want?" And he said to me, Tommy, after his daughter was the same age as me, she was a soccer player at Westchester. So we actually sat next to each other at graduation. It was pretty cool. And he said to me, he goes, after I talked to Lisa that morning, you were the first person I called to talk about what was going on. And I remember he said, life will never be the same after this. And he like always reminds me every time I see him. Remember I called you after 9/11, like after all went down. I thought that was cool. I feel like that's, pretty impactful memory of mine that I just remember the last time was 2 years ago. I'm at a pool in Vegas and he's calling me and I just I forgot about it. I was like I didn't even know what day it was. I just kind of remember obviously in Vegas, but yeah, that's cool to get a call like that. I was pretty pumped about that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's great to have that relationship. I mean, I think, we all met somebody along the way in our lives where, they have that impact on us. And if it's, college coach or if it's, a member at a club, if it's, there's so many ways that, someone can inspire us and help us and, be our mentor. And, I have a lot.
Well, like you with Michael. So, I mean, look how far you brought him.
20 minutes before the podcast, he's like, I got a story to tell about you. It's like, oh shit. I love doing that stuff because people helping me. I remember the Andy Waters and Josh Lewis and Jack Sodoma and all those guys, Brian Rogers, when I was a 22-year-old apprentice and not knowing what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
Those guys were there. That's what the power of the PEO, the assistance organization was. It was, it was like you can come and like air out the shit that you deal with that others are dealing with as well. And to see people come along and like Mike, who was like, what do I do? How do I figure this out? And it's funny. I feel like I remember that conversation now. But I think I asked you to send me your resume.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a job at Congress. And I'm like, wait, I get a job at a Rob. You
don't get something.
Gotta ask.
But I think I remember you saying you want to send me your resume to take a look at it. Because this was around the time where like golf just started to change. Pros just started changing. It was really about, resumes and, what does your resume look like? And what have you done to help move product in the shop? Stuff. It was just different, So
yeah, it was changing into that. I mean, I can remember
very much so.
I was up for assistant of the year the one year, and I didn't get the award. And I called and I asked, I said, why didn't I get the award? And they go, you didn't emphasize your playing enough. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all we talk about is how playing's not important.
Playing's not important. Yeah, playing's not important.
I didn't get the award. I didn't talk about playing. Like, I didn't talk about.
So is that when you win the PGA Player of the Year? Then right after that to show them.
No, that was 2 years later.
By the way, I think what I said to him on that faithful day in 2009, I think led him to his playing career, which is remarkable what he's done playing. But I was never nearly that good. But yeah, I mean, all the shit you've done a lot more than I have. So
yeah, this is about him. I want to know more. Did you decide to become a golf pro leaving college? And did you work at a country club while you're in college on the golf team?
Yeah, I worked at I went to Westchester, as I said. I worked at Kennett Square Country Club, which is about 15, 20 minutes from Westchester. My girlfriend at the time, her uncle was the treasurer. So it was an easy in. I didn't want to go home after my sophomore year of college. I wanted to stay in Westchester. I figured that's where I was going to live. And Tom Carpus hired me as a bad kid, 19-year-old bad guy. And then I brought some friends of mine with me that were on the golf team or that were at Westchester with me. And Tom is obviously one of the most well-respected pros in the area, let alone the country, I should say. And he taught me a lot. I mean, it was just about, I always joked around with Tom because we would have member guests. We'd have like one-day member guests. And he'd be busting my ass. Pick up that cigarette butt. Pick up this, do that, whatever. Make sure that cart's whatever. And then 10 minutes later, we're at the bar and he's ordering pizzas and beers. And that's just who Tom was. Tom is a perfectionist. He wants it done right. But when the lights are off, no better guy than that guy to make sure he cared about you. And it's just simply buying a college kid pizza and a couple beers, So yeah, I was at Kennett. Obviously, he's a big rules official. I don't know if you guys know who Tom is, but Tom is obviously he's out on the Champion Store now. Yeah, he's been on the Champion Store now as a rules official, and he taught me a lot about that, but just about being a professional, how to interact with the bedside manner, how to interact with your members, and he knew I wanted to get into business. He knew I was itching to get into business. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do. To be honest, I graduated Westchester with economics. 2.75 GPA. I was no scholar. I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but I just thought, you know what? If I'm going to give it a run, this is the time. 22, 23. Right?
Yeah.
And I interviewed at Stone Harbor Golf Club. I didn't want to move down the shore, but I interviewed at Stone Harbor, and I said, "Can I have a week?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And then Chester Valley came, and that was 10 minutes from my apartment in Westchester. And I'd never played there, never knew anything about it, but I'm like, that place is well respected. That place is well liked. It's 10 minutes from my house. And I went on the interview and I interviewed with John Poole. And John said, "Hey, are you interviewing with us?" I told him about Stone Harbor. And he's like, give me, I'm going to call the president of the club. And they got me to my offer. They got me to where I wanted to be at the time. And it's embarrassing to say how low that was.
$6 an hour.
$12 an hour.
Yeah.
2002, April of 2002, $12 an hour. I graduated from Westchester in December of 2002, and 2003, April 1st, 2003, I started at Chester Valley.
Yeah.
And I was happier than you know what.
Oh yeah.
So
When you were at was it Kennett?
Yep.
Were you strictly bag room? Did you caddy?
I caddied a little bit, yeah. Kennett didn't have a caddy program. Kennett was, it was. I think they allowed walking.
Yeah.
Even though most clubs require a cart fee until 1:00.
So not too many guys were taking caddies.
No. There was a core of guys that took caddies, and the next thing you know, I hooked up with one of the guys who had me on his bag for all the club championships and stuff, Gus Barber, and he would have me on the bag for everything. He would, call me and say, "Hey, I need you Saturday." And Tom was always so good about it because Tom wanted to be good to the members.
Yeah.
But he also understood that I was working typically Saturdays and Sundays in the afternoon. So if Gus wasn't playing till 9:30, he knew I wasn't getting in until 1:30. But Tom knew how important that was to Gus. So Tom would say, "Hey, Tom," to me, he'd say, "Tom, just start whatever you can. Just get in, change whatever you got to do, and work." At that time, you're 19, 20. It's like,
yeah,
you can do whatever you want as fast as you want. You know what I mean? Not anymore. Now it's like, I got to get a shower, anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I caddied a little bit. I hated it.
You didn't like caddying?
Caddying.
Wow.
Caddying.
My guy, we're in the same boat.
No, I don't think I had any good caddying stories. Tom and 3 members would go out with me and Eric Figueroa.
Yeah.
And thanks, bud. And he would call us Stevie and Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder. Tom would always, next thing you know, they're yelling on the fairway, "Stevie, did you find that ball?" I'm like, shit, I was supposed to,
Tom, what were you, a space cadet out there?
Fucking literally the only Only important job.
Tom, what are you out there like
I have
this, like
to
looking
admit,
around, like a space
Remember-
cadet, like there's the ball.
members can be extremely like intense and can be downright rude sometimes, but there's good ones too. But I mean, like, yeah,
Indicating
if
he
they
can't
get
find God.
right. So I'm not putting that guy in the good category.
Lost like their wedding ring or something. I was like,
Wait, Tom, say that again into the mic. I couldn't hear you.
I said, I was like, you would have thought I lost their wedding. I mean, they were like, yeah, I'd lose the ball. And, I'm like, well, you shouldn't have hit it over there. The one time I remember I was in like the 7th flight club championship and the guy was like a 27 handicap. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I ever did. But it's amazing what you'll do for, at that time was $30-$35. That's a lot of drinking money in college.
Oh yeah.
And that was gone already.
Oh yeah.
Cash you went home with, the pocket cash you went home with, feeling good about having $100 cash in your pocket, and that was gone that night. So, but no, I didn't love caddying. Kenneth didn't have a program. I tried to get I think I got a scholar. I might have gotten a Jaywood Platt.
Platt. Yeah.
One time I think I got a $500 scholarship. I don't. But there was clubs like Aronimink and Applebrook and Bowling Green and stuff that had all these established all these established programs. Kenneth did not have that, so I don't think I got a lot of lift from that. But still nice, you go out, you make 50, 60, 70 bucks, whatever at that time.
Can't beat that.
And then you come into the bag room, work till 8 and make another $100, and
beer money.
That wasn't bad.
Covered.
That wasn't bad. So
you probably learn how to communicate though with people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sorry,
100%.
No, you're fine. So going from Chester, and then when did you start at Lake Nona? Or is that during Chester Valley, or is that during your time at Raleigh?
Yeah, my role at Chester Valley when I started in 03 was as the third assistant. So John Poole was the head pro at the time. He was about to retire soon. Jonathan Doctor was his first assistant, and then Eric McNamee was the second assistant. So I worked under those three guys. Yeah, did you? Nice. And I had an opportunity to work under those three guys, which was awesome because they were all PGA, they were all Class A's. You had the older guys like John, and you had Doc and Eric that were younger, that were kind of more up my alley, and they showed me the way. So to be able to go in and not be the main guy when you're 23 was great. I was able to kind of like fall into place and stuff like that. But yeah, Lake Nona came around. My buddy Jared worked at Carlisle Country Club, and Chip Richter was the head pro at that time. And Chip was a Lake Nona alumni. He used to go down to Lake Nona and work during the winters. And being the third assistant, I was only working 6.5 months. So they were like, "Oh, you got to go find something else." October 15th comes around, get the hell out of here. You got to go find. You're not on our payroll anymore. So I applied for Lake Nona. My buddy was already there a year prior to me, and I applied there, and it was an easier in. It was nice, and I mean, what a freaking experience that was. That was pretty cool. It's funny, you're making $7 an hour and you're pulling in these gates, and as soon as you pull in, there's congratulations, Annika, for winning another event. This is right when Annika was in her prime, and she was a member there. So every time you pulled in the gates, they had these big banners of who just won that lived there.
Wow.
And so freaking cool. So freaking cool. Yeah, I was regularly seeing Annika. Lou Holtz, who was an idol of mine because I grew up a Notre Dame fan. He was there. You had, I think, Doug Meyer, who was Meyer Stores, which is like Walmart in the Midwest. You had the owner of Albertsons. You would see tour players, you'd see celebrities, you'd see just millionaires. So, but you're in these gates and you're protected. You feel like you're like in that community, and then you go back to your 2-bedroom apartment where you're eating.
Where'd you live down there?
Yeah, it was great. It actually worked. That's funny you said it. We had a member who owned apartment complexes, and he was really good. Ron, he was really good to us, and he would give us these 2-bedroom apartments. These were nice apartments for $500 a month.
Wow.
So we were each paying $250. I don't even know what the election was. It was nothing, but
Wow.
She's still doing that?
no, I don't
No.
think so. Yeah. My buddy Jared was living down there the year before me. So he was down there a year before. So he kind of figured it out. And he's like, well, I'll buy you a mattress. I remember this like yesterday. He's like, I'll buy you a mattress and a box spring. And I was like, dude, I got like $200. Like, you can do your best. So I show up and there's a box spring and mattress on my floor. And then with the stuff I brought down in an egg crate, I used my egg crate as a nightstand. Yeah, it was a good, that was, wow. I don't even,
The struggle is real.
It's expensive to go out around there too. I live in Kissimmee. It's expensive. Like,
Oh.
you know,
it was downtown Orlando or, oh my God, it was a lot. It was a lot. Needless to say, we didn't do that.
I feel like people are like, oh wow, you worked here, you worked there, like that must have been so awesome. And it's like you have no idea like what it took, like that
The
to
grind.
be employed there.
The
Like,
grind.
you're right. Like it's not, they don't pay employees a lot of money, and it's you got to earn your way there, and then you got to earn the trust when you get there.
Oh
Yeah, I was making $7 an hour at Lake Nona, and I remember my sister drove down with me the first time, and I had all my stuff in this Honda Civic, and I'm driving down there, and I was like, "What the hell am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna figure this out?" And I said to myself, I remember saying this to myself, I'm like, if I can come back to Philly with the same amount of money I left, then which was not much, by the way. But I was like, if I can come back to Philly with that same amount, I have won.
That's the win.
Orlando. I had, and it was a lot of fun. We had all the privileges we wanted. Members would always ask us to play, even though we were bad guys down there. All the bad guys were pros from mostly up here, from different backgrounds. South Carolina. I worked with 2 guys from Alabama with the craziest accents. I worked with 2 guys from Northern Ireland. Actually, Brooks Koepka's caddy, Ricky, was one of the guys I worked with at Lake Nona.
Oh wow.
We worked together a lot and we played a lot of golf together. We lived in the same apartment complex. So, so I got to meet some just unbelievable people. Unbelievable. It was an unbelievable experience.
See a good golfer? Koepka's caddy?
Oh my God. Yeah. In fact, he went to Toledo for college. He came over from Port Rush, Northern Ireland. Great friends with Graham McDowell. He came over to the States on a student visa. The visa ran out. He actually got deported back to Ireland. And while he was over there, he went through the first step of qualifying for the European Tour. And he made it. And I was just like, I mean, this kid was, you see him, look him up. He's 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'8", 160 pounds.
Wow.
And just could ball.
You're not going to find too many caddies that can't play.
100%. Yeah, this guy is that freaking good. And he had all the talent in the world, and now he's just obviously making a lot of money. Brooks's bag before he went to live. Now obviously with live, whatever. So just amazing. I was there for 2 seasons. I went down and up, and then I became more of a all year round pro at Chester Route. Got I think it was 10 months I worked, and then I collected unemployment for a couple months. But I was starting.
It was always the best job because you got
10
the
months?
2 months off.
I know. Yeah, January,
like,
February. Yeah.
All right, I was gonna go lay on the couch for 6 weeks and just do nothing.
Yeah, because you know what's coming, and you know what. Yeah, and then you know what's coming. You're 60-hour days, 60-hour weeks, I should say. That's
Nuts.
Felt like 60-hour days.
Oh, it did feel like 60.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, man.
So then from there, after that promotion to more of a full-time assistant, how long did it take you then to get to Aronimink from there, and how did that all work out?
Yeah, I remember it was like yesterday. It was I did 05, 06, and at that point, John Poole had retired and Doc had moved into the head pro job, and Eric moved up, and then I naturally moved up, and then we hired somebody underneath me. But at that point, I was doing everything that everybody else was doing. 07 came around, and Eric went to Stonewall. I think Eric went to Stonewall. Mackin went to Stonewall at that point.
Yep.
So I became the first assistant, and it was really a great schedule. We went to this block scheduling where it was you work 30 hours a week in the shop, member events, retailing, all that stuff, and then you do whatever you want after that. So I worked 5 days a week, and which was great.
Wait, you left that job?
Yeah, I did. Oh, well.
I'd I'd kill for 5 days a week.
5 days a week, and then our lessons at Chester Valley were 45 minutes. So if I worked 10 to 4, I could get in at 8:30, teach 2 lessons, and then at 4 go home, or 10 to 4 and teach till 5:30, go home, or play or practice. But it really worked out because our shop manager time knew that she was always going to have coverage with her in there, which was helpful. 07 was one of my best years. It was amazing. Chester Valley, the members there are unbelievable. The staff there was unbelievable. No, I was not that I know of, because I wasn't forced out. But what happened was I was kind of looking for my next step. And Jeff Kitty was the director of golf at Applebrook at the time. And he was close. Applebrook and Chester Valley were away. So he knew Doc, and he knew that I was looking to kind of get to the next level. So Jeff and I talked, and Jeff said, look, I hired a full-time assistant, but I think I have 3 7-month positions. I was like, Jeff, I'm 28. I was newly married at the time. I was like, I can't do 7 months. I'm not going to Florida anymore. I can't do that. And he said, I don't have anything for you then. And I was like, all right, it's whatever. Then I'll go back to Chester Valley. I wasn't unhappy. I was very happy. It wasn't far from where I was living. I knew what I was getting into. The members I always loved the members. They seemed to like me. And then Jeff called me like a week later. And he's like, look, I want to bring you on. I figured out a way to put 2 of the 7-month positions into another 10-month position. So he had me and Rob Agressi in 10-month positions. Then he hired another guy to be a 7-month. So he went with a 3 pro instead of a 4 pro. And I didn't take very long to say yes. And that was Aronimink is a place that I'm a Northeast Philly kid. I didn't think I'd ever be in a place like that.
Yeah.
So to get an opportunity like that, knowing that it would, at that point, thinking I was going to be in this for the rest of my life, that would get me to where I need to be. Get the name recognition. Jeff was, and he's just PGA Pro of the Year. Jeff just this year, every accolade he gets, he deserves. He's a first-class professional. Does everything on the right. He did right by me. But I had to take that chance. I had to take that opportunity.
Yeah,
and
of course.
So in 08, I went there. I talked to Doc a lot about it. He said, it's the right move. You got to do it. So I went there and started fresh and scared and not knowing how it was going to work out, further from my home, like more 6 days instead of 5 days. There was no more of that block schedule. I threw that away like an idiot. But yeah, it was the next move I had to make. Yep.
So how was your experience at around? Can you get into that?
I'm gonna throw it over the
during
corner.
the AT&T Classic, I think 2010. So I'm sure you saw a lot of tour players and Tiger Woods, right? I mean, so how was all that?
Aronimink is a special place. Aronimink was awesome. I loved it. The members were fantastic. You always get this thing about members at a big time private club, exclusive club, that they're uppity and douchey and all that stuff. No, there's a lot of those people there. They made their own paths. Yes, there was old money there, but they made their own paths. They were very, very kind. They cared a lot about their staff, not even pros, but even our folks in the 19th hole. Those guys were there forever. Waiters, they were all this stuff. So everything was really great there. I was there. I started there in 08. And then in 2010 was the AT&T. That was the first year that they had it because they were shutting down Congressional for the 2012 Open.
Yeah.
So they wanted to play Tiger's event somewhere else for 2 years. So they chose Aronimink to play it. So I was there in 2010. We had to get ramped up. The merchandise tent was up and about, and we were in charge of the merchandise tent. We worked I worked 92 hours that week. All in the merchandise tent. If I had to run to the range to do something, or I had to run here to do something, very little downtime. It's just, that's when you're in a tour event, it's 1 week. It's in and then it's out. It's gone.
What was the shift in attraction prior to Tiger kind of not putting them on the map, but locally here at least, and after?
I mean, what did it do for the club?
Yeah, for the club, for the membership, for I mean, everything.
Like there wasn't a lot of events there, and then all of a sudden it's like every year something's popping up.
Right.
think it was the 03 senior PGA was there. I remember going there. It was my first year at Chester Valley, so I remember going to see it there. It was rainy, so I went and saw it, and then I had to get to Chester Valley to work.
Tiger is like another stratosphere.
It's another stratosphere. So it's absolutely another stratosphere. Then I think it was right around after all the stuff that went down with him. So I think he had made the announcement that he was going to play in it. And I remember when he flew in for the 1 day media day, that was a big deal. He flew in and he had I think it was on Monday, private, and then they had the background staging for him to talk in the main clubhouse area. But that was a different world when we found out he was playing it. It was a completely different environment after we found out he was playing it. It was just insanity. And I think, if I recall right, I think it was in the Aronimink clubhouse where he fired Stevie.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's the story. Maybe Jeff could.
Hey, breaking news.
Maybe you can have Jeff
here on C54.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's free. I think from what I heard, that's where it all went down. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making something up. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was right around there when he fired Steve.
Wow. Worst decision in his career.
No, he made his from 2008 and 7 on. He made a lot.
Steve, swing coach. That was it.
I mean, I'm thinking about the Perkins in the area. Like, I wonder if any of the girls that were at the Perkins. I mean, think about it. It's the timeline. You think about it. There are a lot of Perkins in the area.
He went to
Denny's, right?
Steakhouse in King of Prussia. I heard he
clean up there.
He'd have done better at Cracker Barrel.
I think there's a very good chance he won't be listening to this. I think that's what happened. Yeah, he would have done better at Cracker Barrel in down south there, right?
Oh, it's delicious.
Forget it, waffles and pancakes.
There's one a mile from my apartment.
And that shit.
If I lived a mile from Cracker Barrel, I would probably eat there 4 or 5 times in a week easily.
Oh my God,
it's so good. They have good breakfast.
You can't get any Southern food up here. It's Italian everything.
I've never eaten at a Cracker Barrel.
What do you want?
What?
Shredded chicken and shit. We got coleslaw.
No. Their fried chicken is delicious. Their pancakes are delicious.
Kool-Aid
at Cracker Barrel. Well,
dude,
I think we should go there.
Cracker Barrel is
There's
great.
one in King of Prussia, right?
Next time.
Plymouth Meeting. That's where the
go through the retail store. We got to buy $100 worth of shit.
No. That's what you do it on the way out.
Oh, you doing it on the way out?
Yeah. You don't ruin your meal.
See, from what I heard, he was staying in King of Prussia, and I did hear that he pulled something out of Sullivan's. That's the rumor.
Hey, good for Tiger.
You know what? Look, he would probably know, but let's just go ahead and just say, hey, Clubhouse 54 is pleading the fifth on all this. So if Tiger's attorneys want to come over and say hello, don't come.
How about did you see what they did? They packed up his girlfriend and they said,
again, let's not go down that road.
Yeah. Hey, I do. Can we jump into the sales, or do we want to transition into that?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Leaving
what?
I don't know.
No.
Mike, spin your mic a little bit.
I'm selfishly,
in 2006, I lost my stepdad to cancer in August of 2006, and 4 years later, my mom. Oh, not 4 years later, but 2.5 years later, my mom was diagnosed with bladder cancer. Now, my mom was living more with my sister down in South Jersey, and I was living in Westchester at the time, being, Mike knows, 60 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 1 day off a week, to drive it. You know, the last thing you want to do is drive an hour and a half,
right.
And to see your mom in bed with cancer, it was brutal.
Right.
So in 2010, I was 30. I just turned 30, and my girlfriend, my wife now, Kelly, threw a surprise 30th birthday at I don't even know if it's still there in King of Prussia, some brewery. I forget the name of it. It was in the mall, and my mom was there. And my
Iron Hill?
No, I forget the name of it.
Breeze?
No. Anyway, so my mom was there. My family was there. Some of my friends were there, and my mom was hurting. She was hurting, and she had to leave. And keep in mind, she lived an hour. So it was like, she stayed as long as she could. And I have some pictures of her that night, but 2 months later, she passed away.
Oh.
And it was, as the AT&T was going on, here I am, I'm getting ready for that event coming up. And my mom's in the hospital room with my sister, and I'm on speakerphone listening to the doctor say, okay, pretty much from now on, we're going to do pain management. If anybody's been through cancer, it means it's over.
Yeah.
So I lost my mom on August 15th, 2010, almost 4 years to the day, August 16th, I lost my stepfather. And I always tell a story. I tell it in my sales meetings too. I was 30. My mom died when she was 61. And I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm halfway through, I kind of want to focus on some different stuff.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now, and Kitty was amazing. A lot of the members emailed me, sending me condolences and stuff. And he gave me all the time, and I said, no, I want to come back to work. And I went back to work, and I just was disengaged.
Yeah.
I was just not into it. I'm starting now I'm getting more serious with my girlfriend again, now my wife, and I'm starting to think about what it's like to live this life, working this many hours and this many days, and yet trying to date a woman at the time, and she had 2 daughters, my stepdaughters now. She had 2 daughters. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I can't do it on $45,000 a year. And 2, in this area. And 2, I can't do it working every Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
No.
And I just completely disengaged from work. I was not myself, just whatever. It was just a bad time.
Yeah.
And I remember the day, it was yesterday. I went down to see my nephew play soccer, and I didn't really care about the schedule at work. I came in whenever I came in, and Jeff was trying to run a program, and I was not fully there, and we basically just had a falling out at that point, and it was 100% my fault. It was 100% my fault. And thankfully, Jeff is 2 months later, we were talking, and he was trying to get me to stay in the business and trying to get me interviews and stuff like that. But it was just a bad time. It was just a really bad time in my life, and I was just like trying to figure my stuff out. And I didn't know what I was going to do. They didn't fight me on the unemployment stuff. Ronald was like, just do your thing. And a couple of people I got back in touch with, the golf chairman who was really close, Mike Walsh, ran into him in Florida. You would have thought I did nothing wrong. He was tremendous through it. They know what I had been through. And like I said, Jeff, it was done. So I just took some time off. I was just trying to figure out my life. And then I got a call from one of the members and said, hey, my daughter plays at the Westtown School. I don't know if you heard of the Westtown School. It's a Quaker school on the edges of Westchester, right near Cheney University. They're looking for a golf coach. Well, I ain't doing anything. So I would love to. It's the same thing on the mentoring side. When Mike brought that story, I was like, why not? I'm not doing anything. Why not?
Yeah.
So I became the coach at Westtown. I loved it for those 2.5, 3 months. And I wish I could have continued it, but it just didn't work out because I just took that time off. But it was a really tough time when you're coming into the idea of leaving the thing the best and to go into this like not dark, but like nothing about it. It's a scary thing.
When you did that and made that decision, do you feel like you lost another part of you at that point?
100%. So I was just, the one thing, it's funny when you're at a club like Ronamink or Rolling Green or Look Away, you have all these members that have done so many good, like amazing things in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about professionally.
Right.
Their husbands and wives, but they might have started a business, or they might have started a foundation or all this stuff, right? They've done all this stuff. And then they look at guys like Jack and I, and they're like, you guys are gods because you guys can hit a golf ball or you guys can score and all that stuff. And I'm looking at them and going, you have built a business, you have a successful marriage, you have good kids. Like, we're like admiring each other from he's a 20 handicap and he's pissed off because I'm
It's wild, right? Yeah.
And yet, just kill to be able to have some security that you have in your life.
Yeah.
So
give me a percentage. I remember hearing that a lot. Give me a percentage.
Percentage.
Yeah, cut. It's a little cup. You won't even notice. Yeah, I think. Yeah, first off,
You see that guy over there? All I need is a
condolences,
percentage.
and yeah, I'm sorry for the loss of your stepfather and your mother. And I understand that perspective shift. I think if there's, I'm sure your mother left you a lot of gifts in life, and if the final one is that perspective shift of how valuable time is, the one thing that you cannot change or get back. That's really the best gift of all. I can remember being a kid. I lost my brother and my father both to cancer.
I'm sorry.
My dad later in life, but my brother when I was younger, and I can remember getting off the bus and a lot of the kids saying to me, "Hey Tyler, I feel bad for you. What are you doing after school? You never come home and ride bikes, like it's like where are you going?" And we would go with my brother to CHOP, to to the hospital. But I remember looking at them and saying and thinking, like, I feel bad for you guys, like I'm going home to be with my family. Like that was, as a kid, that was the number one priority. I knew how valuable that time was. And no matter as long as you don't find that out in life when you're 70, 80 years old, it's a gift, right? That's the gift. So amazing gift that your mother gave you, that I think kind of put you in a different trajectory in your life.
She worked her ass off, working 2 jobs, and she certainly wasn't the perfect mother, but I gave her a run for her money.
Oh yeah.
She's feeling church.
Yeah.
So I gave her a run for her money. But I honestly, throughout my years, I very rarely got in trouble.
Yeah.
I never had curfews. I never got arrested. I never did any of that stuff that, she never had to worry about if I was going to be okay. She knew that she had a very independent feeling of her own. She grew up in a very poor area in Pittsburgh, and she moved to West Oak Lane, Cheltenham, when she was 18 to live with her uncle and her aunt and uncle. And she just jumped because she knew that what was happening in Pittsburgh in the late 60s was not good for her.
Wow.
And this was not only late 60s, but she's coming from a poor area of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So it was like she knew she had to get out. And and to this day, I don't really have any relationship with her side of the family, because they really kind of just didn't pay much attention to her when she left. But yeah, it's a I guess, like, if you lose a parent that young, I guess you gain perspective that others may not gain until later. But losing my mom has been the hardest thing in my life. Because now my mom like doesn't see what's happening now. Doesn't have a relationship with my stepdaughters, who I consider my daughters.
Yes.
Doesn't have a relationship with my wife. Doesn't see my house. Doesn't see how well I'm doing with work and stuff. They don't. She doesn't get to see that. I mean, obviously, you could say that she's seeing it from up above, but nothing like me physically. But it's perspective. So what happened is honestly, I was like, I'm not fulfilled. Like I won these awards, which were amazing, and I was so blessed to win those awards, and I love being a part of and helping guys like Mike, because this guy's just stud when it comes to goals and getting where it just doesn't stop. But it's that drove me. I love that stuff. But it just wasn't going to be in golf anymore.
Yep.
And I was okay with it. I was okay with it. I was done. And I don't know how you feel, Mike and Drew, and anybody who plays golf and plays it a lot, or when it becomes a job, do you start to lose the love for the hobby, the playing part of it? And it affected me there too, which was upsetting.
I think that's more about the atmosphere that you're in, to be honest with you.
You think so?
Yeah, that's how I viewed it.
I mean, I'm all in. I mean, to hear your, story about how, going through it and saying, "Hey, I need something more." I am all in. I work at a public golf course, and we have not. I mean, we're pumping out the rounds. And that's what I'm saying. With the winter that we've had, we're completely not an opposite, not at all. But for me, I look at, not necessarily the money, but I look at what I want to try to do for what I've sacrificed so far in this business.
Yeah.
What I've done so far, it would be foolish of me not to take it to the next level and to try to do things that I didn't think were possible for someone of my age. I may look cute and handsome Southern boy, but I'm old, and I'm getting older. I tore an ass muscle bowling the other night, and it's like
how you did it.
Bowling.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was. It was even a house. It was one of the house balls too. It's like, how do whatever.
It was like a 12-pound ball too.
But I'm.
Yeah, was it bright pink by chance? Or was it?
It was red. It was red.
What did Mikey shoot bowling? What did he score?
I don't remember. I was trying to buy a bowling ball.
Oh, you dropped off.
Oh, dude, he's
good.
he's good. He's good. Don't listen. We won't get into it. The little family knows how to bowl. His dad, his brother, they know how to bowl. So let's not even go there because it's not even worth hearing how many times they broke 300.
Mikey's amazing at anything that only professional athletes are amazing at.
Okay. Hand-eye coordination.
Not the contacts.
No.
It's true.
But
Ping pong.
said I'm all in. I wasn't all in,
Right.
and I love that you're all in. I love that. I've been seeing what Mike's been doing, on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, and it's like to not think that there is a glass ceiling as far as let me just get into a club and become a pro and just do what I'm supposed to do. He's like, no, I'm gonna mess this thing up a little bit. I'm gonna because now he's created a position where potentially I could do what he's doing here, but maybe not have to work Saturdays and Sundays. And maybe I could see my family at 5 o'clock, like a normal 9 to 5 type job. Whereas a club, that's not possible.
No, it's not.
Now at Burlington, I mean, Mike's there. All the workers are there. Like they have to be there for me to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not necessarily the same case here. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, so how I looked at it was I can put 90 hours a week in working for someone else, or I could put 90 hours a week in working for myself
and doing what
and for my family
and answering to nobody.
Exactly. And I don't work weekends right now.
I don't mean to
work the same amount of hours.
Sure.
I just change the days that I work.
And pardon me for interrupting, but look at the shot that Merlini's got over here. He's he is not sitting pretty. We won't throw scores up there, but let's just see. I'll put 10 that he doesn't get out.
All right, let's take a look. Let's see what he does there. A lot of pressure. Wait, who's it for me? I'm +7.
Oh! Oh, he's out of bounds, those.
So,
No, you guys are good. Hey.
So Tom, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say something serious.
No.
All right. So
Time.
now, with you getting in the golf industry, working your way up, getting into agronomic, and then, your mother, your stepdad passing, your mother passing, how does that, like, with, the grieving process, which, anybody that's lost a loved one, we all know, how did kind of, through that process kind of lead you then into, what you're doing now, with ADP and that whole like transitional period?
Yeah, like I said, that's a great question, Anthony. Thank you. As I said, like 2011 was kind of like my my buffer year where I was kind of like trying to figure out if I was going to stay in the business. I knew I had my name was still there. I knew that I had my credentials and all that stuff, but it was like, do I want to? It's like getting out of a bad relationship and then getting right back into it. And it's like, nah. And it's no offense to Drew or Michael, like they are different people. They have different. We're all different people, and I applaud them for their love for the game and love to grow the game and all that stuff. And I love that. It just wasn't for me, and I just decided that I was going to take 2011 and just kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And as I got closer to the end of 2011, I had my now my girlfriend, my wife now, and we had gone on vacation with Jimmy Mack and his wife, and we had gone to the Outer Banks, and Jimmy's one of him and his brother own Kimberton Golf Club out in Phoenixville, and
He's an absolute legend.
He's a legend because he's not a real pro because he doesn't work the hours that we work, and I hate him for it. He's the best, but he spending more time with Jimmy and understanding what he had in life, that's what I wanted. He had the wife, he had the kids, he had the home, he had the job, and he had everything. And he was still able to do it where he was still able to be in the game he loves, but be able to spend the time that he wanted to doing whatever he wanted to. I mean, his uncle owned the course at the time and he was the assistant, and his uncle, I remember we were away one time and he was like, "Oh yeah, my uncle just told me to stay a couple more days." I'm like, "But it's Saturday." And he goes, "Yeah, it doesn't matter." I'm like, "This is bullshit." I'm like, "This is total bullshit." And to this day, Jimmy would be sitting right next to me laughing because he's like, "Tommy, it's just the way it is." But here he is, a guy at, obviously Kimberton is a public course, right? I mean, I love Kimberton, but you think of Kimberton and Ronimink, right? I'm at the better spot, yet he's happy and I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a second here.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Time out. It had nothing to do with Ronimink. Great people, great place. Love that place. Love the people. But it was just a point in my life where it was time to try something new. And then, Anthony, get back to your question. So in 2000, sort of the summer after I got back from vacation with Jimmy, I was like, all right, unemployment's running out soon. I got to figure this stuff out. I decided to stay out of the business. And I had reached out to my sister was in payroll sales back in the day. She was working for a company down in New Jersey. Let me try that. So I looked at ADP, I looked at Paychecks, both kind of like pushed me aside. I found a company that the member was a member of Chester Valley. I forgot about it, honestly. And I reached out to him. He got me in touch with the hiring manager. And I was saying, hey, I'm really looking to get down to South Jersey. That's where my girlfriend lives. And I want to move back down there. That's where my family is. And he said, we have an open turf down there. And I used to run that turf so I can help kind of get you in. I was like, that helps. And we were both the same age. He was he went to Villanova. He played for the Expos organization as a pitcher. So he had a ton of competitive experience.
Yeah.
So I went to work for a company called Prime Pay based out of Westchester, and I worked South Jersey. And oh my God, that first year was brutal. I mean, 2012 was a tough year. It was like, hey, I'm getting this new business. I'm now living with my girlfriend and my fiance at this point and 2 kids and making crap money again, still making crap money out of the golf business. And I was like, shit, how am I going to figure this out? So I just had to get through it. But that's kind of how the transition went. In 2012, I started with Prime Pay. I was selling payroll services to small to mid-sized businesses.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're the calls that we get that at the pro shop that are like, hey, so who handles your point of sale? And it's like, we're good.
Yeah.
So that's probably what you went through with like that year. Like, and no offense, I'm sorry, but it's like, hey, no, we're good.
Sales guy, I get it. We're
sorry.
Sales guys. When I started looking at my paycheck versus what it was as a golf pro, I go, okay, I'll take the hangups from these guys. Hey Drew, I'm making 3 times more than you. Can you please fucking put me on with that? No,
can't hop in a cart right now and go play 18.
Yo, I'll be over. Get my bag out.
Yeah.
Put it on the cart. I need 6 Bud Lights.
Hey, three reasons to get into sales: money, flexibility, and golf.
It's not for everybody, but I actually throughout the years, going back to the years throughout the years, I did have a lot of members that would come up to me and say, hey, I'm an extrovert. You guys, I think you can tell that I'm an extrovert. I'm going to lay it all out there. I'm not afraid to say anything. You can ask me any question, I'll answer it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't believe I just would rather, you want to know something, I'll tell you.
Just be you. Yep.
Yeah. And I had a lot of members who come up to me and say, hey, if this doesn't work out. And I was always like, kidding me? Oh, great, man. I'm at Chester Valley and I think this is working out great. Meanwhile, I'm driving back to my 1-bedroom apartment and looking for coupons to buy dinner that night. That's how it was. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what happened. I moved into sales and what a learning experience that was in 2012. I was, like I said, moving to Mount Laurel, New Jersey, now living with my fiance and 2 girls. And she was going back to school to finish her degree. And I'm like making $41,000 a year. I'm like, this is going to be a brutal uphill battle. But that was 11 years ago. So yeah, that's crazy.
It's so funny how our stories have kind of flipped. Like for me, I was in the insurance business for like 15 years. Got tired of it. couldn't stand being in the business anymore. Had an agency, was good, making excellent money. But the money didn't matter to me because I was unhappy. I didn't care about, my customers, even though they were paying, my commissions. I didn't care about them. And I got into something that I care about. And it's kind of, it's not funny or ironic, but it's good to hear a story from a guy that say, hey, this wasn't for me. Now I'm on to doing something better for myself and bettering my life. And the story for me is, hey, I was doing something that I was good at, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And I think happiness is what I'm boiling down to. Is like you found your happiness doing something other than what we generally talk about. And it's for me it's inspiring. But at the other side, it's like, you know what? I gave up a lot of money to get back into this business. I gave up a lot of money, but you know what? As soon as I get that PGA card, it's going to be worth it every penny to go to the Masters, just so I can get that one ticket. I can slide right into the Masters. I'm tired of this draw system and all this. I'm a loser in that.
See, too new to this area. That's funny because everyone like PGA card, you can go to the Masters for free. Absolutely. You know what the Masters is? Beginning of golf season.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Sorry, Jeff. Some member events, the opening day member events on hold. I'd like to go to see Augusta for a few days. That's not.
You always make up the excuse of, oh, my club in Florida needs me. And
Yeah. Let me drive down to the.
Well, you got kids, so you could just say, "Hey, my kids are sick. I need to go home." Now I don't have it. All y'all have kids.
Kids don't get sick.
You can't get sick.
You know that.
You can't get sick in the golf business. But
Take the 48 hours off. Just drive down for a day, drive back. You're good to go.
Yeah, I think that would work out. It's funny now that I have the time and the ability to do that. Now I don't have the credentials to do that. So it's like,
it's a trade-off.
It is. And that's a great story because you did something that you weren't in love with, right? We had literally the flip-flop. You're exactly right. It's so cool to hear that too, because it's just a hard business to be in.
It is.
Golf is such a great game, and I learned so much from it. But I had to come to the realization that I didn't want to do it anymore for a living. And it took a beating on the game. I remember when I stopped playing, I started getting the sales. I moved down to Jersey and I had all these new friends and stuff. They'd be like, let's go play golf. And be like, nope, not interested. No, not spending my Saturday playing golf. I just asked them. They'd be like, dude, we've asked you like 20 times. I stopped asking because I was just like, I don't want to play. Like, I didn't have any interest in playing.
Wow.
Burnout.
And it sucked.
Yeah.
That does suck.
It's such a great game. Like, how do you not want to play golf?
Well, if it's,
Burnout.
30, 45 degrees, I'm not playing.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
No, that's burnout.
No winter league for me. Like, I'm not playing that cold.
Yep.
Anthony top 10 did in the championship yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Championship?
What'd you
Yeah,
get?
I got
Peter?
7.
Did you top 10? Did you get my money, by the way?
Yeah, it's in my wallet right now. If you want to buy my fiance and Irina's later.
I had a terrible day. We won't talk about it.
Where was it?
It was at North Hills.
What did you, 72?
No. No, it's actually one of my biggest round years. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
No, you had.
Here's how about this? I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at this.
Okay.
If you watched Mike's round, you would probably want to give him a hug and a pat on the back saying it's gonna be okay.
Well, it got to the point
It was hard to watch.
Out of these guys' way. Like,
Yeah,
I just want to get out of their way. So there was no lining up 3-4 foot. Tap it. Okay, let's tap it.
You just stay out of the way. You try everything you can to stay out of the way.
There was a point where in the round I had 6 inches, and I'm like, should I just make a full swing and just hit it wherever? Like, I'm like, don't be that guy. Just don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
I want to be that guy. Don't be that guy.
No, you're so well respected. You can't do that shit. You'll be on my level at that point.
But Tyler does have to go, so
You guys continue on.
We'll continue on, but Tyler does have to run. He's got a hard stop. So we're gonna say goodbye.
Got a nephew's hockey game. Shout out Aries in the
It's like 7:30. Like who plays hockey at 7:30?
Dude, kids' games are messed up.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I used to have hockey games at 6 a.m.
dude. There's ice time, baby.
I used to have
Tennessee.
hockey games at 6 a.m. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You're like 12 years old, and you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the ring.
So when did you get into place kicking?
No, back it was a punt.
Oh,
What?
punting. Okay, it's my bad.
He did kick a couple of games though.
We'll see Tyler later. Thank you, Tyler.
See, it's not.
I would love to. Yeah, I'm playing.
Joel.
Yeah, I'm playing more than that.
Yeah.
So
Sale. That's Sale.
Playing. Sale, maybe.
sorry for the slight disruption there.
Like 10 o'clock.
Hey, I mean one of the fireballs over there.
I'm in.
Actually, both of them.
I'm in, man. Both. Yeah, you can have both.
No, you don't want one of them?
No, I'm good. Thank
Oh, come on.
boys.
See you, Tyler.
See you, Tyler. Thanks, man.
Tom here.
Enjoy that fanny pack, bro.
So, Tom, I have a good question here for you because I think everybody wants to know this. Even in the PGA, there's times where we had seminars. I can remember seminars back in, let's say it was like 2010, 2011, and it was like how to prepare you for a job outside of the golf business. I remember there was a time where
Was
this
it really?
really happened. So I'm curious, how did the golf business prepare you for your current role that you're in right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. So going back to who I was meeting at clubs like Chester Valley and Aronimink, and you're teaching a lot of C-level CEOs, CFOs, people that own businesses and such. So I think what was great about being in the golf business is that when you're teaching somebody, you know this, Mike, when you're teaching somebody, it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter, it only matters what you do and what you can teach them. And I feel like I didn't, I feel like I wasn't as intimidated going into other interviews as I might have been if I wasn't in the golf business. Like if I was just, oh, you're the CEO of this big company, like I would have been intimidated by it. No, I've been around celebrities, I've been around golf pros, I've been at tour events, I've been this and that, whatever. Like I think what was important is that you just can't be intimidated.
Yeah.
But when you go into a sales interview, it's different. It's not, hey, I did this or I did that. It's, I improved sales by 32% in the golf shop. I lowered loss margins in the golf shop by 9%. So it's like you got to use numbers to get somebody intrigued enough to want to consider hiring you. But I think it was just about just being myself. I mean, my interview with Prime Pay, I got interviewed by the sales director that came up from North Carolina. He was in town that day, and I interviewed with him. And I'll never forget. He's sitting across from me like this, and he's writing everything I'm saying down, and I'm writing nothing down. I'm writing absolutely nothing down. And he looked over at me like halfway through the interview and goes, "You don't feel it's important to write anything down?" And I was like, "I didn't get this job." Like learning experience. And he's like, "You see, I'm writing things down." He said, "When you go out on sales meetings, you're going to be writing stuff down." And I'll never forget that because I just felt like a complete nutter. And I joked around. I was like, "I ain't getting this job, right?" He goes, "I'm not saying that, but these things I can teach you. It's what you bring to the table from a personality perspective that can't be taught."
Yeah.
And that's where I think I just was, I think I don't know, maybe I was just good at interviewing because I never really didn't get a job I interviewed for. I don't know what that equated to. I don't know.
Well, interviewing in the golf business is very difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I mean, 40 people applying for the same job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, they're judging every single thing you do. I mean, I remember going to an interview in the golf business and the guy said to me, he goes, "What's in the backseat of your car?"
No way.
Yeah.
I'd have said a dead body, fool. Stop asking questions you don't want the answers for.
I get it. I understand.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, seriously.
He wants to know, how organized are you? Are you a slob, right? Like, he just wants to know, like, if I walked into your car right now, what would I
That's the dumbest thing ever. I mean, I was looking for a job. I went to interview at Comcast. They want to do a role playing during the interview for a low-level Comcast employee. And I'm like, role play? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, don't make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I mean, asking that question, like, what's in your back seats, like, none of your fucking business. Like seriously, like this had nothing to do with. No, I get it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, none of your fucking business. But I'm gonna be like, 2 shirts and my golf clubs.
Yeah, but that was for corporation. I was going to work for a management company. Then going to like a private club where it's member owned, right? With a board. They're just like, oh, hey, you can shoot 68. Oh, you got
You're in. You're in.
But what'd you say when they ask what's in your backseat?
I definitely made up a lie. Because I know it was like, I forget, it was right when my wife and I moved to the city. And I know I had a ton of stuff in the back of my life. I was like, oh, it's fine.
Clothing drive, and I had all. I'm saying this because right now my wife's running a very successful clothing drive. But it's funny. It's like, oh, it was a clothing drive. I had probably 1 million pieces for the homeless.
No, I'm pretty sure I said golf clubs.
Did there? No,
It's a pretty good answer.
That's the dumbest thing.
It's a great answer. Just say, I got 6 dozen golf balls and an old wedge that just in case I need it.
Or say, I don't know. I don't sit back there.
Yeah.
I look like I could live out of my car for a month. See, then watch their faces.
Yeah.
Their jaw will hit the floor. Oh shit, we're not hiring him.
Well, they'd be like, what's in your backseat? I'd be like, probably about 6 or 7 empty high noons, like a couple of the boxes, a couple of the bags from the wine and spirits are back there that got other trash in it because it's big. And it's like, why did you ask that question? Now I can't get the job. It's like,
That's
I'm being
funny.
honest with you.
So Tom, you got you're now your amateur status, right? You were reinstated.
Yeah. Ironically, that just happened like 2 months ago. I never, like I said, I didn't really care to play a lot of golf after I got out. So I didn't really pay much attention to, thank you. I didn't really pay much attention to the amateur status. I didn't care about playing in events. I didn't care about anything else like that. So I didn't really focus on that. And I just, last June, I joined Burlington Country Club in Jersey. And all of a sudden, within like 2 weeks, I'm meeting the guy who runs the Gap team. Now, this is after the Gap season last year, but he was like, do you have your amateur status? You got to apply for that. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even thought 10 seconds ahead of right now. Like,
yeah.
So actually, USGA they call themselves a nonprofit, but for $200, I got a letter saying, no, you're not a pro anymore. You haven't been, so I just got my amateur status like literally 2 months ago. I sent over to Mike, the head pro at Burlington, just if I play Gap matches and something comes up, here's the letter. But yeah, I just got it. I literally just got it.
How many teams does Burlington have?
3, I think.
We got out of the Gap. I'm sorry. No offense.
I can't wait to play a 5-hour round on a Sunday.
They're long. They're very long.
When it's partly cloudy, probably 45 degrees. That's great. That's a great time.
Snow. What are you talking about?
It's awful.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I remember working those sucked because especially if I opened and I started the matches, typically I had to stay around long enough to score the matches. And then it was like, I'm like, guys, what happened out there? You're the lead match. There was nobody in front of you for a half hour. We stopped starting groups on the tee. Why did it take you 5 freaking hours? It's like lining up 4-footers for 6s. I'm like, guys,
and everybody wants to play away. And it's like it's hard to get a home team. Last year,
no one wanted to play away.
And again, I'm not throwing it out there, but I am throwing it out there. Our lowest handicap last year for our guys participating was a 10.4.
Oh yeah, that's the problem.
And it's like, what are we doing?
That's a problem.
And we decided as a club that we just didn't feel like being a part of it. And it was more work on us than it was reward on us. I don't need any more plaques in the pro shop. I mean,
certain clubs like public courses, semi-private courses, they're looking at the revenue side of it as well.
Right.
But look at how many clubs call in the big guns. I'm not going to throw out any names. I'm not throwing shade, but you know who you are out there. Well, you clubs, who you're calling.
If you send at 9:00 and the first Gap match is 9:30, and that Gap match doesn't get done till 2:30, 3 o'clock. What the hell did that do to your whole backlog?
It screws up the
It
entire.
it
We're
locks
talking
the
about
course down.
3 tee times. We're talking about 3 tee times that could
It
screw up.
locks the course down.
So that's reason numero uno that we got out. It's like we can't sacrifice our Sundays, even though they're early in the season.
No,
we
it doesn't
can't
matter.
sacrifice it for this.
That's worse. It's early in the season. Everybody wants to get back out. They've been inside all year. You know what I mean? Like,
right, but no, but
It's crazy.
the conditions aren't good. So it's like they really need to think about. Honestly, they really need to think about when this should go on, how it should be approached, and it shouldn't be during the first, not even before spring. I mean, it's
change the format so it's not about every hole, because every hole has to be played out.
Well, they're supposed to, part of it's on the people that are playing because they're supposed to be gimmies.
It's not a tour event. Yeah, it's not a tour.
they're
it's not,
supposed to be gimmies.
It's match play. You can give putts.
I don't want to label this as an issue with Gap because Gap does a phenomenal job.
Absolutely, they do. Everything they do is perfect.
It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the people that are playing.
It's the competitors.
I think that we can all admit that we get caught up in the moment sometimes, and we get caught up in the match, and well, I'm not giving it to him because I'm having a bad day today.
Or he didn't give me that one.
Or he didn't give me the one, wherever, and that's really what it comes down to. You watch Gap matches all the time, and first 6 holes, these things are cruising. And it's like, what the hell just happened?
First week.
And that's really what it is. Maybe the guy in the group that's a visitor or the home team, whoever it is, we all have the, who I'm talking about, Drew.
No, I get it. But
and they can be very loud and obnoxious out there. And, they can piss the other person off. And what are they going to do? They're going to slow it down.
But
they're going to say, you know what? I'm going to hard play this guy and make sure that I beat him, and I'm going to make sure he putts every 2 foot.
But to have sleet and snow in the first week, it does matter. It does.
Hey, you know what? It's part of it. It's just part of Gap.
I played Pennsylvania College Golf, Indiana Country Club in early April, Indiana, Pennsylvania, out towards Pittsburgh. We were 2 years in a row. There were flurries coming down on the putting green. Yeah. They weren't good. I wasn't gonna be like, "Hey, time out. We're not playing in this." It was the environment.
You guys should go down south. It really is a special place.
I think you should work in Florida in the winter. That way you don't have to deal.
So
with
hold on a second.
Tell your boss you're coming home.
Hold on a second. So you were a successful money-making insurance agent down south, and now you moved up north to be a golf pro.
No.
Tell me now. I want a podcast on that.
All right, so we got to go back to the steps here. I was an insurance agent, and before I moved up here to Pennsylvania, got married, was an insurance agent once I moved up here, and was in the business for a very long time up here. Then decided, you know what, I want to try. And you know what, I have to give a shout out to my wife. If she wasn't doing what she does in her profession, I don't know if it would be affordable for me to do what I'm doing in my profession. So I've got to give a huge shout out to her to be able to put up with me working long hours, putting up with me being here in this building long hours, putting up with me doing podcasts. She puts up with it all. So I've got to get her,
This is Drew.
Got to give her a shout out. So she's not ever going to watch it or listen to it, but other people will. And so, I do have to do that. But I mean, again, it's one of those things where, I don't mind the 60-hour weeks, but I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I don't have any of some of these things. Don't wait. No, there's no wait till it. Dude, there ain't no kids coming.
We all have different perspectives of what the hell we want to do on a nightly, weekly, monthly basis, right? I am so grateful that there are people that want to do what you're doing. I'm so grateful for that, because the game needs people like you. I wasn't good for the game because it had to have come out in how I was being towards the end of my career at Aronimink. And I'm not proud of how that all went down. And I've reached out to Jeff a lot and said, "Hey, I was an idiot. I'm sorry. I did some stupid shit. I was disengaged. I was unhappy." And he long since we were, but I was just not in a position going forward to continue that lifestyle. And for you to do it, man, I love that you're doing it, man, because we need people like you. You and Mike love this business. I'm sure Anthony loves this business. Tyler loves golf. Like, we need people that love golf. I love golf again.
Right.
I love golf again. I love golf again. But I'm enjoying it from the side of it's not my thing. And that's been a dream. That's been a dream.
You're kind of the walking epitome of everything happens for a reason.
I try. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out, man.
Everything happens for a reason. You know how everything kind of went down and how you are now. I mean, you could see you're happy. You're definitely in a better spot. And you know, I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason. It's happened in my life. I'm sure it's happened in everybody's life. So it's definitely cool to hear. Like, you know, like how everything kind of shifted. So, and look at where you are now. I mean,
When Mike reached
like
out,
you said,
what's so impressive about my story? I'm just trying to put my foot in front of the other and trying to provide for my family and provide my kids with a nice lifestyle and some security and stability and stuff like that. That's all I'm looking to do.
that's
But there's
awesome.
thousands of people in the golf business right now looking to do the same thing, and they need to hear your story. They need to hear my story. They need to hear that there is another way to do it. You know, it's not. You don't have to be at a country club working the 90-hour.
I hear you, and you might sit there and say, okay, Tom did this. This helps any others that might be looking to take that wild step, right? But you were just talking to me before we did this podcast. You're telling me about your ventures outside of this with your wife and stuff. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I would want to know more about that. I wanted to hear all about that.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important. Hearing Drew's story, hearing Tyler's story, hearing Anthony's story, like that's all important. Like, and we have 5 different stories. I think that's important.
And that's really the whole point of all this, and that's why we do this podcast.
It's pretty cool.
So we can get all those stories out there to help somebody, that's in your right now at a high-end club, that's, they have the dream job. I know that when I got my head pro job, I'm like, wait, this is it? And I'm like, this is what I worked so hard for?
That's how I felt.
This is it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Like, wait, like, aren't I supposed to feel like I'm Superman now? Like,
nope.
No, I'm not. No, I'm the same guy. I'm the same person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, like it really changed. Thankfully, I had guys like Drew on the team that help with a lot of the tough things that happen. But it's it's not. Guys need to hear these stories. Gals need to hear these stories to know that there's another way out. And it's not even necessarily a way out. It's just hey, look, you can do it. Like you learn so much in the business. You learn people.
Oh my God.
You learn how to dress. You learn how to do everything in the golf business. Golf business is fantastic.
Fantastic
Business.
Fantastic.
But it really does prepare you for these decisions that we've all made. So
yeah.
I just want to have the ability to tell people no. Can I go off the back nine? Hey, you guys look. You're not running on time today. Can we just go off the back? Nope.
No, you cannot go.
You cannot go off the back.
Your life's fine.
Yep,
it's okay.
You'll be perfectly fine. I just want to have the ability to tell people nope, and I want to be able to explain to them why they can't do it. And I live for that moment. In fact, I'll probably video the first time I tell somebody.
Well,
no.
I can't. Well, maybe it might be me. I might walk in the Bucks Club and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the back," and I'm gonna make an example of this guy and do it now.
No, I'll be like, hold on, let me look. Anybody come on up 9? Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
So Tom, what advice do you have for anybody that's either in the golf business or looking to get out of the business to get into a new business or in the business you're in today?
I would say that you believe in yourself and not be afraid. I mean, if you're feeling like you want to get out, then you probably should get out. If you're not feeling, if you're where I was at 30, right, at where I'm supposed to be starting to interview for head pro jobs, you were there, Mike. If you're not feeling or not excited or not interested in that next step, then I would say that if you think about it, you got another 35 plus years to work. And do you want to be doing that unhappy? And Drew's a great example. I was unhappy. I was making good money. I was living a good lifestyle, but I was unhappy. So what did he do? He changed and went in. And most of us go in early and get out, or some of us go in early and get out. You went in after.
And I couldn't tell you how many. I've got a couple buddies down south that have gone through the program, were head pros, and they were like, "Don't get in it.
Yeah,
there are not enough golf courses for as many people that are in the business." And I remember him telling me that, and I'm like, "Okay, all right, well, we'll see."
I had people ask, they're like, "Hey, man, I should get out." And I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I wanted to get out. Right. And I was there to the point where I had the opportunity to get out. I had some financial not backing, but I had, I lost my mom. I had some money to kind of just, if I needed to peel into that, just to kind of figure out where I wanted to go. But I would say that my advice would be, as cheesy as it sounds, is that if your heart's telling you're not in anymore and you're disengaged, that shows up to your bosses, that shows up to the fellow pros, that shows up to your members. It shows up. It shows up because you're just not the same person as you would be. I am not who he is now. I wasn't who he is when I got done.
But I'll say this, and I don't mean to interrupt you. There are days where we're disengaged, and then we're days and we're like, the first group. And so the first group that goes out and it's like, oh, we had to play 3 holes because they were punching the hole, they're punching the cups. And it's like, really? You were the first group out. You played in 2.5 hours and you're complaining about this. And it's like, those are the days you're just like, okay, no.
And you probably get it. Probably hear more on the can't make it up stuff in the public side than I did.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. I take a ton of notes.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say, like, don't be afraid. And you don't have to, like, by the way, if you're a pro at a club and you want to kind of venture out and see you don't have to necessarily publicize it and advertise it and say, hey, you can start going on interviews. You can start talking to some of the members that you're close to. Start talking to your students. I networked the hell out of 2011 just to kind of, I went to some of the people that I taught that were so successful. I'm like, what do you think? And they all were like, hey, look, you got the personality to go do whatever you want to do. If you don't want to do this anymore, then get out and do something you want to do. And I'm not, I work for ADP now. We sell payroll, we sell HR benefits, stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm like so in love with this business, but I'm in love with the lifestyle it's provided me, with flexibility, with time with my family. I've met so many amazing people that I'm just so grateful to have as friends.
2 Steves and a Ginger.
Two Steves and a Ginger.
It's actually 1 Steve and a Ginger right now.
But I've been there almost 10 years, and to meet the people I've met, to travel the globe. I mean, I've been to Italy, I've been to Austria, I've been to Hawaii twice. I've been to Florida a bunch of times for some stuff. Austin, Texas. I'm going to San Diego. I've never been. They put you in positions to really experience life, and they do it with your family. Like when I make my President's Club, I go with my wife.
Yeah.
She gets to experience. She gets to live that lifestyle. So it's I would just say don't be afraid, and I'd say give it. If you're feeling that way, it means you're probably already out.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
So we do a rapid fire.
I know. I got to pull up my phone to remember what I said.
No.
There's no remembering. This is off the top.
Oh shit.
It's off the top. No remembered shit.
We're gonna jump into this rapid
Shit, he didn't say that. He just said rapid fire. And he gave me the questions already.
So you should know them. Don't blame the high noons on you not remembering the question.
Okay. Fire away. Oh my God. Probably Pebble Beach.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Playing it.
Go ahead. No, and I'm looking at his answers, and that's not in his answers.
Oakmont was awesome. Marion, Aronimink. I mean, I have so many good courses. I don't have a favorite course.
Favorite golf hole?
I originally put number 8 at Pebble Beach, which is one of the coolest one of the coolest holes. I forget.
You said 18 Pebble Beach.
He said 18 at Pebble.
For 2 so far.
He is.
This is
So what's your favorite club to use? He got it correct.
I need to know why.
Yep.
Because when you're a short hitter like I am, you always have a lot of sandwich.
Oh, amen, brother.
always tried to do was, I was never a long hitter. So I always had to play par fives more as
Three shot hole.
and I just always loved like hitting a little wedge to a few feet or 10 feet or whatever. And that's
Stuff
what
shells.
that was my game. So yeah, sandwich.
I love it.
Bucket list golf course or area to play.
I know what I said here. I said Whistling Straits because I do want to go to Whistling Straits, but Ireland and Scotland I'd love to go to. I'm actually our president's club for ADP is in Dublin this year, and I'm on pace to get there. So I would love to try to figure out if I could play some golf while I'm over there. But that area would be cool to play.
Well, if you ever get, I mean, you definitely have to go to St. Andrews. I mean, that's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
So my wife told me I'm not allowed to go to Ireland.
Why is that?
You ready for this? Because everyone she knows that went to Ireland came home pregnant.
Well, don't take her with you then. Jesus, that's not hard. That's not hard. Like, don't take her with you. You're not gonna bring. No. But we don't need any more littles running around this planet. Come on.
We're good. My parents have 15 grandchildren.
It's turned into a cult.
And I'm the first one to have a girl and a boy in the family. So my sister has all girls, my brother has all boys, my other sister has all boys, and I have two girls and a boy. So I'm the first one to break.
So don't go to Ireland and you won't have any more kids. Get fixed.
All right. No, thank you. Best score.
67 in a college event, and I shot a few 68s. I shot 69 at Tobacco Road, which was cool when I took members down to Pinehurst. But yeah, that was. Yeah.
Well, we did the exact same thing. Michael and I went down to Pinehurst with a couple buddies, and we did that. And then on the way home, my back was on fire. Plus, I had been drinking heavily for 3 or 4 days.
I had to pull over so you could throw up.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was bad. They wouldn't sell me Red Bull vodka. They wouldn't sell me 2 at a time, so I had to walk outside, put it down, and come back in, and they would give me another one.
This is like 7 a.m.
Oh, it was bad.
When in Rome.
It was bad.
Drew went there to just have fun, and
I did. I had a blast.
I had a blast too.
We had a really good time.
We had a good time. The best is the putting green at Pinehurst.
You got to do it. If you, I mean, you could sit there and spend hours. And the amount of money that you can gamble out.
I don't play the golf course. Like seriously.
Seriously. Yeah, just go out there and sit there and just play the 18.
That place is special.
And the cradles. If you could do that in the cradle, I'd be good with that.
You know, I've been there twice. Once for an event, and then the other time was just to mess around with him and a couple of buddies.
So, what's your favorite halfway house snack?
I said chicken salad, which is kind of cheesy, but
no, it's more chickeny than cheesy, but it's I just saw that.
It's amazing chicken salad, and then I would grab a Snickers too. I mean, look,
hey, that's great. Yeah. You gotta love the Snickers.
There's something unique, like he's been at a lot of really special places, and I was hoping
simple guy, man. What do you want? Like
he's basic. He's simple. I love it.
Basic as hell, man.
Simple man. Dream. Yep. What's your dream foursome?
I think I put this has changed over the years. I think I put John Daly. I put Freddie Couples. I can't remember who I put as a
Jordan Speed.
Jordan Speed. Yeah.
Can you imagine that foursome? They would not. That would be so uncomfortable. Like John Daly would be saying shit. Jordan Speed would be like, I can't do this. I can't be around this guy.
Respect Jordan, and then John Daly is just like the story about him. You hear the story on TikTok where he was at the bar at an event. He saw Tiger walk in. And he's like, Tiger, come have a drink with me. He's like, no, I got to go practice. And he's like, next thing 4 hours later, he comes back in. Tiger, have a drink with us. No, I got to practice. He said something like, if I had your talent, I wouldn't have to practice, but I don't. So John was just about, just not being too serious about life and stuff like that. That's really what that was about. So I have a lot of people I play golf with, but just trying to take it more like chill. Just trying to go chill.
That would be
course.
fun.
All right, here's a Drew and Anthony question.
Don't put Anthony on. Let's just put Drew.
Yeah, it's more of a Drew.
He's the one that put it down.
I'm the alcoholic.
You're not.
Oh, Jesus.
Favorite on-course cocktail?
I always went with like vodka Sprites or I love an Arnold Palmer Spiked or a John Daly.
Hell yeah.
But don't you get heartburn from that early in the morning? So why would you do that to yourself? Like being on the golf course and having heartburn sucks.
Tums.
I was telling my wife, I'm like, I always get heartburn for these things. I have 2 or 3 of them, and she's got me taking a heartburn pill now every day. And I haven't had any heartburn for like 6 months. So
It's not Zantac, is it?
no.
All right, good.
No,
That's probably worse.
I've had heartburn since I was like 9, and so I've had to always take something. So like having like a lemonade or like something like that early in the morning, it's like I ain't doing
Nah,
that.
no thanks.
Because Sprites are vodka, anything vodka clubs, but I'm not a beer guy. So I can never see another beer guy having fun.
Meanwhile,
Shout out to High Noon and their tequila seltzers. I mean, come
Great.
on, they
They're great.
taste excellent. Now,
where'd these come from? I didn't know anything.
no, Drew, I saw these at the Wine and Spirits store. Shout out to Wine and Spirits in Pennsylvania.
Are you sponsored by Hyman yet?
You know what? I'm looking, but you know what? We don't have enough listeners. So if you're listening to this right now, share it with all your friends. We need. I've already knocked over the mic, and I've only had. I don't know how many I've had, but I've already knocked over the mic.
Tom, thank you so much. This has been very inspirational.
Ginger and Steve, that's
Been
not funny. Don't
been
make my legs
educational.
go up over here.
I know
Thanks,
that we had a great time, and
I appreciate
it's great to catch up with you. And
So awesome meeting.
definitely-
I appreciate this.
yeah, definitely appreciate us growing our relationship here. So
Oh, I
thank
love
you,
it.
Tom.
I love it. So good to be here. Thanks, man. I
You
appreciate
got
it.
All right,
Thank you,
everybody.
Tom.
Andy, thanks, man.
To wrap, Tom Byrne, thank you so much. Great to share your story. We'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Sure. Can you get the
Mic drop again.